Well, thank you very much for joining this virtual session of TIES. And in this session, we're addressing that wonderful issue of assessment. How often do we hear debates, indeed arguments in education about assessment? Our subject in full is how should assessment change in times of disruption? And if assessment does change, does it suggest that there are better ways to assess learning than those that have become traditional? So that's going to be our topic for the next hour. And I'm delighted that we've got three wonderful speakers here. And then Mr. Krishnan, who is the head of higher education at TCS ION, that's part of Tata Consultancy Services. So I'm going to turn now to Mr. Krishnan, and basically it's over to you.
Thank you, Dominic. And I'll just wait for a couple of seconds for the presentation to come out. So just to quickly introduce, I've been with TCS ION. We do some of the largest assessments globally. In fact, till date, we have done over 230 million assessments. And as you can imagine, this is a topic that's very close to our heart. And if there is one thing that we have learned from all of this experience is that assessment is synonymous with credibility. It is what differentiates between individuals seeking for a job, when they come to corporates. And clearly, with the pandemic setting in, this is going to become a differentiator. And it's very important that we talk about this, share experiences that we have had. And as leaders in education, policymakers, government, we need to come together and see how assessment needs to pivot. And in the next 10 minutes or so, I want to walk you through 4 broad areas that I believe is important, starting with what is the problem that we are facing? How has the situation changed? And it is very key to keep this in perspective as we look at transforming assessment. The second, I want to leave the delegates who have joined us today with a few tenets to look at the strategy on how assessments need to be transformed. What are some of the elements to keep in mind as we strategize? And then I believe, based on our experience running some of the largest assessments globally, what is the future of assessment hold for all of us? And a sneak preview into the future is what I will try and create. And finally, I would like to leave with a very practicable suggestion on how we can take assessment forward, depending on various situations and use cases. So let's get started. If we move to the next slide, here I have highlighted what we hear and understand as the market realities that primarily has been caused by COVID. As the speaker earlier to me mentioned, in Kenya, and so is the case globally, clearly the biggest disruption is not just in terms of economic terms, but there is a big disruption in terms of the professional courses that are being run in our educational institution. And today, if we can animate the slide fully, please. There are definite gaps in terms of how learning has been conveyed to the students. Gone are the traditional schemes of measuring the impact that learning has created. So today we don't know the kind of impact that the COVID has had in terms of learner retention. When schools and colleges were open, even today it is shut in most parts of our country in India, and I'm sure in global context too, with the pandemic resurging. Clearly, we don't know in terms of what is the level of practical knowledge that the student has got through pure virtual learning pedagogies. So the key message here is world over, I guess, education has shifted online, but should assessment follow suit? Or are there a different way to look at this that we need to come together and come to a common agreement in terms of how we should move ahead when it comes to assessment. If we move to the next slide, here I want to just emphasize on some of the key tenets that leaders should keep in mind as they define the strategy and adapt their assessment methodology to a new normal. The first most important aspect about assessment, which we need to understand, is that assessment is like, it's like a chain, and it is only as strong as the weakest link in the chain. So many times I see organizations, when they look at assessment, they try and have multiple providers drive the assessment, or keep something that they would like to do it themselves and outsource the rest. This seems to be not the right strategy. We have seen that multiple times that leads to malpractices, it leads to disruption, finally affecting the credibility of the whole process. So one of the things that we advise clients is either do the entire assessment process right from question paper to administering the assessment and the analytics that comes out of it all by themselves, or give it to a single provider so that the end-to-end experience can be taken care, because it just requires a small paper leak in one step of the process for the entire credibility of the assessment to come down. So it's very important to have this single window end-to-end view when we drive our assessments. Moving on, the other aspect that is a big challenge today, especially in developing countries, is the connectivity issue. And what that does is that it means that there is no straitjacket, one size fit for all assessment process that institutions need to drive. It is important to understand the context and then derive assessment methodology that aligns to that context. The next aspect is the model itself. Today, because we are all working from home and classes are gone on the cloud, it is something that most institutions have looked at remote assessment model, but it need not be so. There are other models, and we'll talk about it shortly, which will ensure that assessment is conducted in a fair and transparent fashion, and also the credibility of the institution, as I keep saying, gets protected. Because one of the challenges that we have seen in remote assessment is there is a lot of possibility for malpractices to happen. A simple example is where the student just switches off their Wi-Fi router and claims that there was connectivity issue when in reality there was no connectivity issue. So those are the kind of challenges that a remote assessment creates for organizations and institutions. The next two key aspects is to do with the technology. However we do assessment, we need to finally go back to the first principle and understand that what kind of technology we need to leverage, whether it's AI, machine learning, to ensure that every step in the assessment process, there is an algorithm looking at the student, looking at whether there is some malpractices that are happening. And today technology allows us to do that very comprehensively, and hence it should be top of the mind when it comes to putting any assessment strategy, either for the country or for the institution or for the segment. And finally, we need to look at also the scalability of the platform, because different types of assessment requires different approaches. For example, the way you deal with the admission test to an institution is very different from a pan-India talent test that one would run, is very different from a summative and formative assessment that is done within an institution. Similarly, what gets done in a K-12 is very different from what gets done in a higher education institution or professional courses. So the key message over here is all of this tenets, if you can animate please. All of these tenets, ma'am, can you animate the slide? Yeah. So all of this is finally moving on to, can we make this whole assessment process democratized and available to every learner? The third key aspects that I want to talk about is the future forward of assessment. Primarily the world over, even before the pandemic, most of the assessments used to be done using pen and paper. there is some level of digitization that happened. And today the pandemic has forced higher levels of digitization. But apart from the delivery and the operation part of assessment, there are other methodologies. If you can animate this, it'll be good if you can animate the full slide so it's easier for me to talk. Yeah, thank you. So I have highlighted some of the areas that are still continuing to be gaps in assessment. Let's, for example, take adaptive testing. The analogy that I would like to believe is if you are a reasonably good chess player, you don't want to be matched up with Magnus Carlsen in every game. What it would eventually do is it will eat up on your confidence, and you might possibly take a disliking to a game like chess because you seem to be losing all the games, right? Similarly, at the same time, you don't want to be put up against always with a novice chess player if you're reasonably good. That builds a wrong kind of confidence that we don't want our young minds to get into. So an adaptive testing like a GRE or a GMAT solves this problem by pitching in questions that is tuned with the previous question that one answers. And this is something that clearly is an area to work upon. And one of the key message that I want to say is all of the points that I mentioned in the slide are possible today with technology. But what challenge we see is in terms of institutions adoption and change management. So that seems to be a bigger challenge than availability of this. Another good example is gamification of learning and assessment, wherein you don't make the student believe that they are getting assessed. They are just enjoying as if they are playing a game. And a good example of gamification is what we did in TCS. A simple dashboard, a simple score that we called as T-score, which motivated all our employees to take up learning of technology courses, because that's how they get to improve their T-score, and that this gets benchmarked, and there are dashboards, various badges. So simple interventions as this will create incentive for the learner and make assessment not something to be feared upon, but also something that can be used as a learning tool. So, which brings me to my final key message. I believe that the future of assessment, if you can animate to the last slide, please. So I believe the future of the assessment has 4 key tenets. And given the challenges that we have seen, we believe that it should be based on 4 key pillars. The first pillar is, how do we take this whole process of question paper creation and distribution and do it securely online? Second, how do we create a model, a hybrid model, where there are centers across the country where students can walk up to a center of their choice, not necessarily go back to the institution, and take assessment in a proctored fashion. And given that these centers are distributed across the country, there is ease of access to this center. And just to give an example, we at TCS ION have created such a network across the country in over 600 cities, more than 6,500 centers, where students can easily access this center, and the entire assessment process is done following social distance norm, and there is proctoring, also CCTV camera to look at AI-based monitoring of students so that the malpractices comes to zero. And the other point here is that the whole process of post-examination grading can also be enabled by scanning these written question paper or answer booklets, put it on the cloud, and we can create hub of markers, as well as the institutional faculty who can go and correct this exam paper. The pandemic is coming to an end shortly, but there is still time when we need to look at how do we, till the time that the pandemic is subsided, how do we ensure that assessment is continued. And the hybrid model that I have spoken in this slide is what we believe is the way forward. And we have done it very successfully in India. thereby ensuring that institutions who are driving these assessments, their credibility is protected, and we are able to also cater to the needs of students who are today stuck in their homes, and ensure that this whole process is done leveraging technology, leveraging digital, leveraging cloud, and driving it in a very distributed fashion. With that, I will hand it over back to Dominic. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.